Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. At the Congress's debut political rally ahead of the Delhi Assembly elections, leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, on Monday had launched a scathing attack on Prime Minister Modi and Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal, saying that both used propaganda tactics of making false promises without meaning to fulfill them. And his statements come amid growing speculation about fissures within the opposition's India bloc. Now, let's put that aside. And I'm not going to talk about the fissures within the India bloc, but the way Rahul Gandhi is trying to prepare the pitch for the Delhi elections is really very interesting. It's tactical, it's part of the Congress's strategy. But today, Rahul Gandhi was seen in Delhi's Rithala area, and where he was trying to showcase the glaring gaps between Aam Aadmi Party government's promises and reality on the ground. He showed broken roads, open sewers, and stinking drainage systems. And then he said before the camera, "Ye hai Kejriwal ki chamakti Delhi." This is the shining Delhi which Arvind Kejriwal has given to the people in the last 10 years. Now, what would you really say to the Congress's strategy for the Delhi elections? Is it a tactics? Is it a strategy to target both Arvind Kejriwal and Prime Minister Modi in one fell swoop? And does it mean that Congress is hopeful really of winning, if not many seats, at least few seats are they hopeful of winning this time? Joining me now is veteran journalist and political commentator Anand Sahai with us. Thank you so much, Anand, for joining. And we have a senior deputy editor from the Frontline, TK Rajlakshmi. Thank you so much, Rajlakshmi, for joining. And I'll begin with Anand. Yesterday, Rahul Gandhi was targeting Prime Minister Modi and Kejriwal, saying that they resort to the same propaganda tactics. And then today, he was seen in the Rithala area where he showcased the glaring gaps between what Aam Aadmi promises and what the real situation on the ground is. Do you think that Rahul Gandhi's or maybe the Congress's strategy to expose Kejriwal will really give them any kind of a political dividend this time?
Well, let me just say, Nilu, that usually I would have said that the Aam Aadmi Party, under Mr. Kejriwal's leadership and campaign, would be the winner right away, because the last two elections, his margins of win were so huge that the BJP, although it has 30% plus, 32% or so, steady vote in Delhi, they could cut ice when it came to seats. They got their voters, but they couldn't get seats. Having said that, I would say that right now, both these parties are at somewhat of a discount, meaning their expectations from from themselves may be a little bit higher than what is warranted. And the reason for that is that the country has been an economic mess for a considerable period of time, and the poor of Delhi, on whom Kejriwal depends, and on whom Modi is depending to see him through, they are not likely to be, very amused about their current economic conditions of life. Mr. Modi and his party, like they have done in the past, would try to bank on the communal appeal. That may work with some sections of the poorer people also, because religion is such a hot poison. It does tend to trump lots of things. Although we did see the Lok Sabha election last year, that even in a place like Uttar Pradesh, it counted for all too little, the religious factor. Then we cannot discount the third factor, Dhiru, and that I think is something which obviously statisticians and pollsters and psephologists will not take into account. Unfortunately, even political parties seem to be discounting it. Although they made such a huge hue and cry about the Maharashtra result and the Haryana result, a lot of it, the defeat in Haryana especially, could have been due to Congress party's own faulty organizational abilities and the state of its organization. But in the case of Haryana, my own sense is that had there been absolutely fair and free election, uh, then the result may have surprised the BJP. So I think the election commission factor has emerged in my mind as a factor of state control, which means that no matter how poorly placed the ruling dispensation may be in a particular election, it is always, it will find that there are invisible forces that are giving it a leg up. Changes in the rules have been made very recently after the Maharashtra and Haryana election, where ordinary citizens cannot demand to see documentation, especially video documentation of what happened in the polling arena. So, the whole thing looks very, very suspicious. Nothing has been proved, but yet, in my mind, it is a very important consideration in Delhi. And if at all BJP is to overturn the Kejriwal, rule of the past, since 14, then I think that factor is likely to come into play all the more. Having said that, let me add one more thing. As far as Mr. Kejriwal himself goes, as much money on propaganda as Mr. Modi was doing at the higher level at the union level, a lot of it is wasteful propaganda, blowing up a sense, cult of personality and so forth. Now, since his party took power in Punjab, for a variety of reasons to do with Punjab primarily, I think they have not, impressed people there with their governance as much as they impressed the people in Delhi, especially in the early part, say midway through their tenure, or even the early part of year 6, year 7, around that time. And this corruption matter and the alcohol sale, whole thing, nothing has been proved, but things don't look too good. So I really cannot say if that has had a kind of a defining effect on the whole thing or not. Mr. Kejriwal is a very powerful street level, demagogue, just as Mr. Modi is. That's true. That's true. So, but I think the Congress being in the fray this time, with a degree of purposefulness, maybe they'll pick up only 1 seat, 2 seats, 3 seats. I cannot say. On the other hand, it can get suddenly the kind of people that Rahul Gandhi, who did his walk, the marathon walk, north to south. On that walk, the kind of image that he projected of himself, the kind of contacts he made, then and subsequently, and even preceding that, he came across as a friend of the young people and the working people, the poorer sections of our society. Now, will that image, now Delhi is not India's poorest place. So how far does that image take Rahul Gandhi since he'll be the lead campaigner?
Sure.
I mean, that's a matter of speculation. We don't know. But yes, the election this year is more interesting. It has become more speculative, certainly. And therefore, really very hard to say anything clearly and definitively about.
Right.
Thanks.
But yeah. Rajlakshmi, I want to come to the Congress's strategy for Delhi. What does it look like? Yesterday, we saw the debut rally by Rahul Gandhi. Today, he's seen in Rithala. And, is it a tactical posturing by the Congress to uh, to target Kejriwal and BJP together, because somewhere down the line they are sending out a signal that look, other parties, if at all they are trying to think that I mean, if they try to stop Congress's progress, so that should not be the case. So, has Rahul Gandhi sent out a very clear message to the regional parties also through Delhi elections?
Well, Nilu, I think that that by asking Rahul Gandhi to lead this campaign and to get into at least campaign mode shows a certain degree of seriousness on the part of the Congress. And so it's not so clearly the Congress feels that that there is something here that it could gain out of the situation, perhaps the anti-incumbency against the arm of the party government, maybe a few seats here and there. And I mean, compared to the fact that so many of its candidates lost their deposits in the last elections, and it secured only some 4.5%, of the vote share, right? So I think anything from there could should only be an improvement. It ideally it should not be a decline. Now, as far as the Congress's own sort of organizational structure, and machinery is concerned, there are questions about that. In the last 5 years, whether the Congress activists took up any serious issue, related to governance or not. That's also an issue to consider. Now here comes the whole problem of where does the India bloc stand. There's been some talk, and there has been some confusion also here, because now the some of the India bloc partners have been saying that we are going to back the Aam Aadmi Party and not the Congress so much in these elections, because there has been this understanding in the India bloc earlier also that they should coalesce their interests and support towards that party which is in a position to defeat the BJP. So from that point of view, it makes absolute sense. But for a party like the Congress, which was in power in Delhi for several years, barring the last 10 years or so, or it is seeking to make a comeback. It does want to make a comeback politically. It needs to make a comeback, and I think I just feel that perhaps if some kind of an understanding had been arrived at with the Aam Aadmi Party, then maybe the I think division of votes in constituencies where a member of the India bloc, of course both Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress are members, important constituents of the India bloc alliance, they stand a good chance to win. So I think some kind of an understanding should have been arrived at.
I was speaking to few Aam Aadmi Party workers and supporters this morning just to get an idea as to what was really happening. So they said that we will not target Rahul Gandhi directly,
Right.
and but we also understand that they are trying to make a comeback in Delhi and they've not been in power since so many
Mm,
years. So it's
mm,
perfectly all right, but we also
mm,
know that it's almost like shadow boxing. Congress
mm.
flexing its political muscles is like shadow boxing. So we know where they are, but let them do it. We don't mind. Now, do you think that this kind of a posturing by Rahul Gandhi is mainly to send out a message to the cadres, to energize the Congress cadres in Delhi, which has almost been dormant for so many years?
I think it's quite possible. I think it's quite possible, and I wouldn't hold it against the Congress, because it needs to show its presence and a significant presence in Delhi, even though it doesn't have a CM face, for a candidate. It well could be the DPCC chief at the moment, but the same issue goes, with the BJP also. In fact, one of the issues against the BJP was that that they did not project a CM candidate even in the last elections. So there were some murmurs that could have been a reason, for the BJP not doing well. Now it's quite interesting that Rahul Gandhi, when he's been speaking on issues, he's not he's not been focusing on the issue of corruption, uh, by the Aam Aadmi Party, which is a central theme, in the campaign of the BJP. I mean, he's been talking about "Sadke theek nahi hai" or "Pani ka problem." I think more or less governance issues, and he's also speaking about pollution. Now, it's quite clear that the focus of attack, of the Congress on the Aam Aadmi Party as compared to the BJP is quite distinctly different. So I think there's a difference there. So I think I'm not sure whether there has been some understanding on what campaign points the Congress is going to raise and Congress is going to project, but clearly there is an understanding, perhaps, that its attack, on the Aam Aadmi Party is not going to be as virulent as that of the BJP's, because there obviously some thought must have gone, the fate and the future of the India Alliance. And because since India Alliance partners, are themselves talking about these things, that the Congress has not called a meeting of the India Alliance after the Lok Sabha elections, and that it should be seen, in a certain leadership position, and that it should help consolidate the gains made, by the India Alliance as a whole, and which means, I think, respecting each constituent partner's strengths in each state. But that does not mean that the other parties, will not put up candidates, right? So it could be sort of friendly contests. It could be in the form of not being very sharp on the attack front, and so no overt support, but no direct opposition either. So I think some kind of a strategy is in place, because at the same time the Congress is also going all out. They've got Sachin Pilot also to get involved in the Delhi elections, maybe for the Gujar vote. So there there are various considerations, and all these various schemes that it has announced, which is again, outbidding the Aam Aadmi Party as well as the BJP's claims on this.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I again want to, try and understand the strategy of Congress for Delhi. Anand, what can you really make out with the way it has started? Not the central leaders too much are seen so far. Maybe in the coming days, Mallikarjun Kharge and other senior leaders would be attending the rally. But for now, the way Congress has begun, what would you really say? And yesterday, Rahul Gandhi spoke about the memories of Sheila Dixit, that how her development and Kejriwal's development, they are starkly different. He tried to revive those memories. Today, again, when he was roaming around in Ritala, he said the same thing. And he said that bring us back to power. We will show how we make a clean city. He said Arvind Kejriwal ki ye chamakti Delhi hai, jo ki keh rahe the usko Paris banayenge. They were trying to turn Delhi into Paris, which they could not. And then he showcased those open drains and broken roads. Uh, Maybe because the campaign has just begun and we still have a fortnight or slightly more than a fortnight, in fact. So, what would you really say about Congress's strategy? Do you think that they are hopeful of garnering or doing better, if I may say, that they might do better than at least what they did last time?
Neelu, let me not hazard a guess on that count, although you've asked a very pointed question. But I would say that as far as I'm concerned, and I've been of this view for some time now, way before some of these so-called India bloc parties decided to, back one of their so-called members. I use the word so-called for a reason, because I have never believed from the time of the Lok Sabha election that certain members of who were technically in the India bloc were actually there. I mean, they were ideologically somewhere else. I think the time has come, and it came some time ago, that India bloc is it is a kind of a nostalgia. Why? Because it did produce favorable results for the opposition parties and unfavorable results for Prime Minister Modi's party. I'm not even saying BJP, for Modi's party, because the RSS kind of emotionally was not in that Modi's party at that point in time. And therefore, we saw the results we saw in several states run by the BJP, including Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra at that time. So I think the time has come now to take a more nuanced view of opposition parties, they're coming together. I think it will be very important if they could kind of federate, not all of them, but at least a few of them. I can think of a few. I mean, not necessary to name those, who are on a similar ideological wavelength with the Congress party.
Right.
Because Congress party, like the left parties and perhaps like the DMK, they take a certain overall national position, even though they may be weak and getting weaker. The left certainly, has grown
Hmm.
very weak. The Congress has grown very weak compared to its best moments in history, right? There's a desperate effort to revive it. Uh, Considering all that, political federation is not good enough. It has to be an ideological federation, in my thinking. And therefore, I think it's a very good start the Congress made in Delhi by fielding itself, unlike in the parliament election, as a party that will contest the positions, ideological and otherwise,
Hmm.
of the Delhi incumbent as well as the national incumbent.
Right.
Because this is not expressed very openly usually, but my own sense has been for many years now that leaving aside this section of vote in Delhi, which the AAP took away from the Congress, the minorities vote and certain sections of the poorer people's vote, the working class vote, and the Dalit sections vote. Barring those, the voting pool of the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party are very similar, are very, very similar. But they have decided one thing, the voters, those voters, that for parliament they'll vote for Modi, for assembly they'll vote for Kejriwal. Why? Because Kejriwal will give them some water and electricity rate benefits, which Modi will not. That's why this time both Shah and Modi now are desperately trying to persuade voters that no, the benefits you are getting will not be snatched away from you. You know, they find it necessary to reassure their own parliament voters who are voting for Kejriwal's party in the assembly.
Right.
Because that pool is the same. And by and large, the upper class Indian, not just the middle class, but also the upper class Indian is decidedly pro Modi in all the major cities of India,
Right.
including in Bangalore in Karnataka, where Congress is now running the administration.
Hmm.
And also the middle class, which had transferred its allegiance to Manmohan Singh for various reasons at one time. And that explained Manmohan Singh's good show in that election when he came back as prime minister for the second time. Now that middle class has reverted to BJP. Does the Congress party have any plans to try and make a convincing appeal to the middle class of Delhi? I do not know. Because the Congress party is so beset with difficulties of an organizational nature.
Hmm.
If you notice the Delhi State Congress, there are all kinds of issues with it. They were, there for everyone to see during the Lok Sabha election as well. And nowadays, that Lalit Magan has been shut up completely, and so forth. So there is no identifiable leader. The older brand leaders who we could recognize with ease,
Hmm.
they have now grown old. They have grown as old as I have, and some of them are older. They were my contemporaries at university. Some were senior to me. You can't survive on a party which has people in their late 60s, early 70s, and so on, as the main movers and shakers organizationally. In a very dynamic city like Delhi. Delhi is an economically dynamic place and it's a politically dynamic place. So I'm glad they've got such a pilot there. And, so
Right.
that's a good thing. But I think the Congress, as usual, and Congress, regardless of the fact that it has been taking very forthright ideological positions in the last few years, continue to do so under the present leadership, it will never yield the benefits that it ought to on that basis, because there is nothing to take its conversation forward. You know, so
Okay,
they're taking it good for them. But let's see.
let's see. So people still doubt whether Congress will be able to do better this time. Now I'm joined by Pushparaj Deshpande, who's the author of the book called Bharat Jodo Yatra. He's also the spokesperson of the Congress party. So I'm going to understand from him the kind of posturing which Rahul Gandhi did yesterday at Delhi's Selampur, and today he was seen at Rithala, showcasing the open drains, the broken roads, sewerage. Uh, what is Congress's real strategy for Delhi? Because people are still trying to understand that, not thinking about the India alliance per se, but it seems that Congress is on a is going to fight a lone battle, and it's sending out a message that, look, we are capable of fighting a lonely battle. We don't need alliances. Is that a message, or is there a tactical positioning which Congress has taken for Delhi? Yes, Pushpraj.
Hi, Neeluji. Thank you for having me on your show. See, there are three very quick points I'd like to make. One relates to the electoral, the other relates to the developmental, and the third relates to the ideological normative, which our learned panelist it overlaps with what our learned panelist was saying. Before that, I want to start by emphasizing that I understand the need, the necessity for a bloc like India, uh, because you need a common ground to marshal, like a charge magnet marshalling all progressive forces. While we were able to do that in the Lok Sabha elections, more recently the Maharashtra elections has shown that there are certain diminishing returns to repeating such an experiment. You clearly need to push the bar further with regard on how you can sort of coalesce progressive forces who are anti-BJP, who are wedded to the constitutional idea of India. So that's the first point I want to make. Coming to the electoral, like in Kerala, what happened in Kerala, where Congress and CPIM fought separately, and CPI also in some cases. The fact of the matter is, as our learned panelist was saying, there is a section of voter that is almost identical, that could actually vote for both the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. In fact, many of them did vote for the BJP in the Lok Sabha elections and will now vote for the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, the government has been in power for a significant amount of time. The Aam Aadmi Party has been in government in Delhi for a long time. There is bound to be some anti-incumbency. Naturally, if there is no third pole, it is very likely that this anti-incumbency vote will go to the BJP. So you think about it like that. If you want to ensure that the BJP does not benefit from any anti-incumbency, you need to put up a third party, a third pole. That's the first point, the electoral. The second thing, which is developmental, and here I must confess that you and we've all seen what happened in the G20. We After the Commonwealth Games, we've seen the G20 summit, and both occasions, I mean, they're not comparable, but both occasions were sort of occasions for us to gauge how Delhi has emerged as a city, as a global metropolitan city. Now, whatever the Congress government's faults may have been, the former Chief Minister Sheila Dixit, the late CM Sheila Dixit ji, she did a lot, and Delhi actually progressed economically, politically, on multiple parameters. I remember the fact that she actually initiated this Bhagidari program, and there were many things. I mean, you saw the entire fleet of buses that were rolled out, the upgraded. Shailaja Chandra ji was there as the education secretary. A number of fantastic things happened in the education sector. Schools were upgraded, hospitals were upgraded, PHCs and CHCs. So the fact of the matter, and not to mention infrastructure, a lot of work happened under Delhi government under Sheila Dikshit. What has happened under the Aam Aadmi Party? Let us be objective. Keep the PR aside. Yes, they have painted schools. Yes, they have upgraded, repaired schools, put in smart TVs and smart classrooms. But actually, have any new schools been built? Have any new hospitals been built? Has healthcare provision deepened? Apart from creating subsidies, which are actually, mind you, subsidies are a symptom to a larger structural problem, a systemic problem. What is the problem? Consumption is at a historic 50-year low. When people are not able to consume more, and mind you, consumption accounts for 56% of our GDP, 55.7% of our GDP, when consumption is at a low, you need to give out handouts. I mean, I use the word handouts, but actually you need to create an enabling supporting infrastructure. So that is why you can create support. So you can give free electricity, you can give free water up to a certain limit, but those are temporary measures. The Delhi government has not done anything substantive to actually boost the economic progress of Delhi. Where have the new industries? Has new industries been created? Has micro manufacturing picked up? Has Delhi's infrastructure picked up? No, it has stagnated. Whatever exists is basically from what Sheila Dixit ji created for Delhi. So since then, it's been 10 years of steady disrepair and decline. Now, all of these things, you can't just put bandages and expect you to, and then, create this, create spin that humne Delhi ko badal diya.
Raj, let me
Let me
interrupt.
finish. No, no.
Pushparaj, just sorry for interrupting you for a few minutes. You're talking about Sheila Dixit's development during her tenure. Nobody can discount the kind of development we saw during Sheila Dixit's government. But today's generation, which has seen Kejriwal over the next 10 years, and
Last 10 years.
Congress, yes. So how will that development of Sheila Dixit or by Sheila Dixit resonate amongst the people in Delhi?
No, you're absolutely right. There is a certain the Congress party and any other party that is facing the Aam Aadmi party has to certainly really ramp up and boost its communication platform. You need to be disruptive, and you cannot resort to the same calcified tactics that has stood the test of time over the last, 20 years ago. We are all at this juncture, given what the BJP has unleashed, the kind of money and the administrative power they use, we are analog players in the digital world. And then the Aam Aadmi Party is a very good example of, they copy the BJP very well. You see what they're doing in Punjab. You see what they've done in Delhi. It's maximum symbolism, minimum substance. So I agree with the fact that a lot more needs to be done to communicate the reality of Delhi in the last 10 years. That I agree with. I'm not denying that. But I am talking about facts here. I'm saying not much has happened in the last 10 years to actually make Delhi a global capital, right? That is the second point, which is development. And the third point, ideological. And I agree with the former, my learned panelist who spoke before me. Ideologically, many parties, including this party, are not really aligned with the Congress party or the India bloc's larger meta narrative or macro vision. I mean, for you to actually talk about soft Hindutva, for you to actually bring out ads saying that Kendra mein Modi, Assembly mein Kejriwal, for you to actually start your entire movement, you start your entire political party from funding received from the RSS. And Govindacharya, Prashant Bhushan have actually spoken about this publicly. I'm not making baseless assertions. They have spoken about this. Prashant Bhushan ji has spoken about how the BJP and the RSS actively helped the Aam Aadmi Party emerge. So the fact of the matter is that ideologically, they are very transactional. This is a party whose current incumbent CM has publicly gone on record on Twitter. I mean, I can pull out the tweet. I don't know how to share it on your screen. Has gone on to say that any family that receives a reservation this time, the next time the generation after that will be last in the line. I mean, this is their view on social justice. Kejriwal's political career started as an anti-reservation activist. So my point is that this is a party that is deeply antithetical to social justice, deeply aligned to soft Hindutva, proudly claims it. And this is a party that is, what is it? It's BJP minus Modi. That's all.
Pushpa, one more question and then I'll take the final comments from Raj Lakshmi. So, are you hopeful the kind of ideological fight or the posturing which Rahul Gandhi is doing, Congress in Delhi is doing, are you hopeful that the vote share this time will not be as abysmal as it was last time? And you're hopeful that the vote share would increase?
So, see, obviously, you're talking with my political hat. I obviously will say that, I am hopeful that the Congress party wins. But I have to also be, if you look at the ground reality today, I am sorry, I'm not I'm not the kind of spokesperson who's going to come along and say that the Congress party is now poised to win, because there is a lot that needs to be done. I genuinely feel that what Rahul Gandhi ji is doing, is setting the Congress party's ideological tone right. There was a lot of ideological malleability in the past with the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and now he's very clear about the fact that those who don't subscribe to the constitutional idea of India, we will fight against them. And
True.
I think that we can't predict elections. I mean, we have tried doing that in Maharashtra, we tried doing that in Haryana, we tried doing that in the 24 Lok Sabha elections. I personally hope that the Congress will win, right? And I personally hope that the BJP is a distant third. But the fact of the matter is, what Rahul Gandhi started today is, I feel, a genesis for a new revolution. And here I agree, go back to what my earlier panelist was saying. You need to inject fresh blood. You need the dynamism, impatience of the youth for you to be able to do disruptive, innovative politics. For that, what Rahul Gandhi is doing is absolutely correct. I completely agree with what he is doing. Now, whether the Congress party is organizationally and electorally up to it remains to be seen. We'll know on the 8th of
February.
February whether the Congress party has been able to actually follow the line that the leader has given us.
Okay.
Back to you.
Okay, so right. So Pushpraj has very clearly said that the kind of beginning or the kind of start which Rahul Gandhi has made is very encouraging. It disrupts the kind of politics which BJP and apparently Aam Aadmi Party have been doing. So the concluding remarks from you, Raj Lakshmi. So what does it really indicate? And I'm purely talking to you from the point of view of Congress and the kind of strategy which they have adopted for Delhi. The campaign has just begun. Yesterday was the debut rally. Today he was seen at Rithala. And I'm sure in the coming days, there would be many more things like these coming up from Congress. So do you think that the Congress's strategy might really help them this time? Though it's difficult to predict. Yeah.
See, Nilu, the thing is that the Congress has, every right as a political party to stake a claim in these elections and to contest elections, and it should, okay. But at the same time, since it is a crucial component, and in fact, perhaps it sees itself, in the position of providing leadership to the India alliance. So from that point of view, I think that a certain amount of discussion should have sort of preceded the entry of two crucial India alliance partners in these elections, so as to ensure that the votes do not get split and that a third party does not sort of get the benefit of it, because then it will all be useless, all these talks about about sort of preventing the subversion of institutions, or sort of trying to put a halt to the harassment and the hounding of opposition parties, which both Congress as well as Aam Aadmi Party have been equal sufferers, as well as other constituents of the India bloc. So I think that since the India bloc came together on certain issues, I think that it should have carried forward, that idea should have been carried forward in these elections, so as to secure the maximum possible gains. Now I do not see, because as far as if the whole idea of campaigning in areas like Silampur or Simapuri or wherever it is, to get the minority votes. Now in fact, let's be very clear, the minorities are not going to vote for a party that is not a serious challenger in these elections. They will vote strategically, as they have always voted, because it's a question of survival also, for a large section of the community. And as far as the things that Kejriwal has done in the past few years, they still resonate among the population. Yes, it might not be to the extent extent that it was in the previous two elections. There will definitely be a decline, because as the law of diminishing returns says, there's going to be a certain depreciation of that popularity. But should the Congress here, should it act as a spoiler? Should it not? There are certain issues, and I think that a certain concerted thing should have been done. A certain concerted conversation should have happened prior to these elections. As I said, between two, in fact, very important constituents of the India Bloc alliance, and since the other India Bloc partners are equally concerned of the outcome of Delhi, because above all, it will I think put the Congress in a particular position. I mean, if it does not secure respectable number of seats, it will definitely sort of put its leadership into a certain peculiar position at the end of the day. So I think it's a catch-22 kind of a situation. The party should contest, yes, and it should win a certain respectable number of seats, but whether it's going to do that or not is not clear. Now, ultimately, if a situation happens that the Aam Aadmi Party or the Congress, whoever, if they secure a certain number of seats and they are able to form, perhaps government together in case one of them falls short, I hope that kind of a generosity will be seen, and that this is entirely, I'm speaking in the framework of the survival of the India Bloc alliance itself, because I think the cracks have sort of begun to show, and they should not get sort of further, deepened and widened.
Right.
Ideally, I think they shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Anand Sahai and Raj Lakshmi, for joining on the show. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us a feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal.